nothing but tear down black man. Look at it. He's nothing giving. You never seen 50 give nobody no flowers, no respect. He just play on people's downfall. Diddy, Irv, Gotti, Ja Rule. Now Big Meech. You never seen 50 say nothing.
Making that G-Unit film studio out there in Louisiana where that cheapest land at. You thought you was gonna be able to do it. You thought you was gonna be able to get them loans, and it ain't. What's wrong? What's taking so long? 50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I'll buy your masters. You better shut up.
50 Cent, Rick Ross, and like the twist nobody saw coming. Big Meech.
Right in the middle of it.
Smack dab in the middle. And it's way past just, typical rap beef now. This feels really personal.
It's pretty wild how fast these things can escalate, especially with fame and money involved. What we see publicly is often just like the surface level stuff, right?
Totally. So Rose Druckup, he's been absolutely relentless, just firing shots at 50.
Non-stop.
He's saying 50's broke, can't even get a loan for his G-Unit film studio down in Louisiana. I mean, he is really going for the kill shot here.
And that offer to buy his masters, that's a huge power move.
Oh, yeah. He publicly offered to buy 50's music masters.
In the music world, that's like your legacy, your income. Suggesting 50 needs to sell. That's meant to seriously undermine his whole image.
Calculated to sting, for sure. But, 50. He has to just sit back.
Never.
He's swinging back hard. And one of his counterpunches, well, it's got everyone talking. He's saying this true crime guy, 1090 Jake, he claims Jake has actual paperwork.
Right.
Paperwork that allegedly proves Big Meech. Yeah, the BMF legend himself was a snitch.
Wow. Okay.
And 50's basically teasing, like, stay tuned, I'm going to drop this evidence.
Now, that's interesting because 50 built this whole huge TV show, BMF, right? Based on Meech's story.
Exactly. There was a clear connection, support there.
So for Meech to apparently be siding with Ross now, and these kinds of accusations coming out, it suggests a really serious falling out. A, total break in that relationship.
Makes you wonder what really went down, doesn't it? It just pulls back the curtain on these alliances, how quickly they can just crumble.
Loyalty, betrayal, money, it's all tangled up.
Yeah, it's high stakes. More than just gossip, it's a look into that world.
And you have to consider the performance aspect too, right? These feuds generate buzz, keep names relevant. Sometimes the intensity is part of the brand.
You almost wonder how much is real and how much is, for show. Now, remember that Welcome Home concert, the one for Big Meech?
Yeah, Rick Ross was involved in setting that up.
Well, it got canceled, just poof.
Yeah.
Vanished. And the rumors started flying immediately.
Let me guess. Fingers pointing at 50.
A lot of people suggesting he pulled some strings behind the scenes to shut it down.
Given their history and this new thing with Meech, it wouldn't be a shock if 50 tried to block it. That's definitely a strategic move in their ongoing battle.
And Ross, he didn't hold back afterwards. Called 50.
Yeah.
Well, the kind of names. Basically said 50 was just a herd hoe because Meech chose his side.
Yeah, the language gets pretty rough, shows you it's personal, not just business.
But here's where it gets even messier. For years, 50 actually supported Big Meech's family, financially.
Right, with the BMF show.
He poured money into that series. It starred Meech's son, Lil Meech. And Lil Meech reportedly made over $5 million from it.
That's life-changing money. It shows how invested 50 was, not just in the story, but in the family.
Which sets up this whole narrative of disappointment, right?
If the money wasn't handled well, maybe.
Well, word on the street is that Lil Meech wasn't exactly making smart financial moves. Flashy cars, big jewelry, the usual stuff.
A sudden wealth trap. Happens all the time, especially with younger people in the spotlight.
Exactly. Maybe not much long-term planning, especially with his dad still locked up at the time.
Right.
So apparently when 50 started going after Big Meech, Lil Meech reached out, tried to smooth things over.
What did he say?
Said the whole thing with Ross was just temporary. Just to help his dad with bills until the next season of BMF started filming.
Sounds a bit like damage control. A weak excuse, maybe.
That's kind of how it sounds, yeah. And 50. He was apparently having none of it.
What was his response?
Reportedly just hit him back with a cold, what, next season? And then boom, announced he was done with the BMF series entirely.
Whoa, canceling a hit show like that sends a massive message.
Total mic drop.
It underlines how deep the feeling of betrayal must be. And it has huge business consequences, too, for everyone involved in making that show.
And for 50, that feeling of betrayal seems intense. He's saying that once Big Meech got out, any loyalty just, evaporated.
Gone.
Suddenly, both Big Meech and Lil Meech are hanging out with 50's known rivals. like Floyd Mayweather,
Oh, wow.
publicly.
Yeah. Lil Meech even posted pictures online, captions like real power, which seemed like a deliberate dig at 50's show. Power.
That's definitely sending a message. Publicly aligning against 50. No subtlety there.
It's like they completely forgot who propped them up for years. 50 talks about feeling like a mentor to Lil Meech.
Helped him get into acting school, didn't he?
Yeah, supported him financially, acting school, even apparently sent him to rehab at one point.
Okay.
But then, according to 50, Big Meech comes home, starts giving Lil Meech bad advice, encouraging the flashy spending, maybe downplaying the substance abuse issues.
So 50 feels his investment, personal and financial, was just thrown back in his face. It really highlights how messy mentorship can get when family and fame are involved.
And meanwhile, Rick Ross just keeps piling on.
Still with the money taunts. Oh yeah. Still mocking 50 about his finances, saying he'll buy his masters just so 50 can have some pocket money. It's just relentless.
Ross seems really fixated on chipping away at that successful businessman image 50 has. That's his main weapon here.
But 50, in his classic style, is sort of trying to dismiss Big Meech altogether now.
How so?
Basically saying, who even is he anymore? Implying his opinion, his actions, they just don't carry weight in 2024.
That's a power move too. Diminish the opponent's relevance. Assert dominance. Classic feud tactic.
But just when you think maybe it's simmering down, 50 drops another bomb.
Why?
He's announced a new documentary series. And sounds like it's going to be a complete tell-all about everyone who's ever crossed him.
Oh, this is peak 50 Cent turning conflict straight into content and probably profit.
He's even teasing it, saying he's got a story for every single snake who tried to bite him.
A documentary like that is his way of controlling the narrative, getting the last word in. It could be explosive.
So just to recap this whole wild ride, we've got Ross throwing serious financial shade. We've got Big Meech, surprisingly, siding against 50.
And 50 promising to expose him as a snitch, allegedly.
Right. Then there's the canceled concert, the millions Lil Meech supposedly burned through,
A switch in loyalty, hanging with 50's enemies like Mayweather.
the deep feeling of betrayal from 50 after all the support he gave, and now this tell-all documentary looming.
It just hammers home how volatile these relationships are in the entertainment industry. Personal feelings, business, it's all mixed together.
And it really makes you think, what does loyalty even mean in that world? When there are millions of dollars, public image, everything on the line, where do you draw the line?
Especially with 50's documentary on the way, it feels like this story is far from over. It'll be fascinating to see what else comes out.
Absolutely. It's just this constant battle for power, loyalty, money. And you're left wondering who actually comes out on top in the end and what the real cost is.
Yeah.